Ilia Topuria has come to the media after a long time, and he used this opportunity to mock Islam Makhachev, who's set to fight against JDM at UFC 320. He is confident to fight Islam, but before that, Topuria is enjoying the best life as a UFC champ. He received a heroic welcome during his visit to Georgia.
Soy un hombre muy honrado que me gusta lo mejor. A mujeres no me falta ni el dinero ni el amor.
Meanwhile, during his press conference, Ilia Topuria aimed at Islam Makhachev, mocking him with a sharp comment. He joked that if Islam loses, he can go back to Dagestan to herd sheep, but if he wins, Topuria promised he would rise to the challenge without question. Ilia Topuria said if Islam loses, he can return back to Dagestan to his farm and continue herding sheep. If he wins, I'll definitely rise. Definitely, 100%. Ilia Topuria also names Islam Makhachev as his ideal opponent for the White House tournament. He believes their fight would be one of the biggest in UFC history, noting that no one has ever competed for championships in three weight divisions before. Topuria explains that Islam has already dominated his division and moved up with success, making their matchup a huge opportunity for both men and for the UFC itself. Ilia Topuria stated, Islam Makhachev, this will be one of the biggest fights in UFC history. No one has ever fought for the belt in three weight categories before. Islam dominantly dealt with everyone in its division. Rose and our fight will be a fight of great magnitude. This is in the best interest of all, including the UFC. Earlier, Ilia Topuria commented on the Islam Makhachev versus Jack Della Maddalena fight, but admitted he has no real interest in it. He said Islam's move to welterweight doesn't matter to him and that the matchup isn't something he's focused on.
How do you think Islam Makhachev will do at 170 when he fights Jack Della Maddalena?
I don't know. I don't care, to be honest. I never thought about that, so I don't know.
Ilia Topuria further reveals that it's very possible he'll headline the first UFC Paramount card in January. He shares that a few potential opponents are being discussed, with Paddy Pimblett high on the list. However, Topuria makes it clear that he's ready for anyone, saying he doesn't care who steps up next.
რამდენად შესაძლებელია შენი ბრძოლა ვიხილოთ UFC-ს და Paramount-ით პირველ ღონისძიებაზე?
ძალიან შესაძლებელი.
და მაინტერესებს შენი აზრით?
ვისთან ვიბრძოლებდი, აუცილებლად პადი, იმიტომ რომ დიდი ისტორია გვაკავშირებს. გონი რომ მაგ ბრძოლის ხილვა ყველას გსურს და ყველას გინდათ რომ მოხდეს ის, რასაც არ ვიტყვი ხმამაღლა.
On the other hand, MMA Guru described his inner hatred for Dagestani fighters and humorously imagined a chaotic scene where Jack Della Maddalena stops Islam Makhachev with body shots and the arena erupts into mayhem. His exaggerated story reflected his playful dislike for Dagestani fighters and was meant purely for entertainment.
JDM, body shots against the cage, TKO's Makhachev, he shits his pants, Khabib slips over in it, crying in the corner like that, and then Khabib gets angry, he stops crying, he gets angry, and then all of a sudden he's climbing the cage like something overcomes him to attack JDM from behind. He sucker punches JDM from behind, and JDM just turns around and just starts laying into him with combos, dude. And then Khabib gets slept on the ground as well. And no one steps in because he just attacked JDM, you know what I mean? It's not like a part of the thing, so it's not the referee's job to step in there. So JDM just raining down elbows like he was doing to Gilbert Burns. And then Makhachev wakes back up. Umar, help! Umar, help! Umar jumps in, and then the referee pushes Umar off the steps as he's trying to climb into the cage, and Umar slips over into the cage, and then everyone smells Umar in the crowd, and then everyone says pushes him over, and then people start whacking him with chairs, splashing their drinks on him, and then the police say, what's the problem here? The security guards come in, are any problems going on around here? Who's causing this ruckus? Everyone points, him, this goblin.
Meanwhile, Bilal Muhammad believes Islam Makhachev has the tools to dominate and finish Jack Della Maddalena on the ground. He explains that fighters who haven't experienced Dagestani wrestling are often caught off guard by its intensity. Bilal adds that Islam's grappling is on another level and that Jack still shows too many openings when the fight goes to the mat.
I mean, I think my mindset, I think Islam can finish him on the ground for sure. And especially it's like we saw with DDP. If you never felt one of those Dagestani style wrestlers, like you don't want it to be your first time in the cage feeling it. And Islam and them, they have a different feel. They have a different type of grappling. So for JDM, even in our fight, he makes mistakes on the ground. He does a lot of stuff.
However, Jack Della Maddalena shared his determination to defeat Islam Makhachev, saying the fight means more than personal glory. He explained that he wants to win for his team as well, especially after Makhachev's recent victories over opponents like Alexander Volkanovski and Dan Hooker.
Islam Makhachev has had some success against our Anzac fighters, Alexander Volkanovski, Dan Hooker. We're hoping that it will not be a three-peat of fighters in our region.
Yeah, that's it. I'm gunning for it, I really want to, obviously just for myself, but yeah, I want to get that win, I'm gonna get it back for the team.
Meanwhile, Dan Hooker applauds Islam Makhachev for taking the bold step of moving up to welterweight, something even Khabib Nurmagomedov never did. However, he cautions that Jack Della Madalena's size and power could make things tough, as those physical traits might balance out Islam's usual advantages.
We'll see, man. He's himself, like, credit to Islam, like, doing something that even Khabib didn't dare to try, which is move up a weight class. He's got his own problems. Jack Della's that's a big boy. I've stood next to Jack Della a few times, and you could chop off one of his legs and he's still not going to make lightweight. Like, he is a legitimate welterweight problem, and that obviously takes away a lot of Islam's advantages by coming in there and being a big lightweight, being a strong lightweight. It kind of levels the playing field a bit.
Dan Hooker also leans toward Jack Della Maddalena in his fight with Islam Makhachev. He acknowledges that Islam proved his strength against skilled wrestlers like Bilal Muhammad, but believes JDM's smart approach gives him an edge. Hooker explains that to win, Jack will need to mix things up, counter-wrestle, push the pace, and even go for his own takedowns instead of just defending.
Do you take JDM to beat Islam in that fight next month?
I'd lean with it. He obviously showed that he's highly capable of fighting a wrestler in the Bilal fight, and that's a very strong wrestler in itself. Very similar opponent, and JDM is not. He's not. He's smart about it. He knows that you can't avoid the wrestling. You have to meet it head on. You have to lead the wrestling. You have to counter wrestle with them. I feel like gone are the times of guys trying to avoid wrestling. These guys, they've seen that it doesn't. They've seen that avoiding the wrestling doesn't work, or only being defensive with the wrestling doesn't work. You have to wrestle these guys or wrestle them first. That's the kind of method to the madness.
Ian Gary discussed the matchup and predicted that Jack Della Maddalena would have the edge in striking exchanges. However, he pointed out that the key factor would be stopping Islam Makhachev's takedowns at UFC 322. Gary highlighted Islam's elite grappling background and said Jack's chances of winning hinge on maintaining strong takedown defense over 5 rounds.
The fight for me really is when Islam grabs a hold of Jack, how good has Jack improved? Because Islam is world class at that and has been for probably his entire life because of the way he trains and where he has come from. So can Jack stop that consistently like he did against Bilal? Because he did a phenomenal job against Bilal at stopping that. But can he do that against someone who's just cleaner, more technical? On the feet, I think Jack wins it cleanly. I think he'll jab, switching stances. He'll have a bit more fluidity due to the fact that Islam's not going to be changing stances so regularly. So I think Jack can do it on the feet, but the question mark is, can he stop the takedown consistently over 5 rounds?
Curtis Blades admitted he hadn't seen many of Jack Della Maddalena's fights, only his most recent ones, but still leaned toward Islam Makhachev. He explained that Islam's consistency, composure, and ability to overcome tough challenges made him the safer pick into the matchup.
I don't know. I haven't seen enough of JDM. I haven't seen enough of his fights. I've seen his last 2, but I haven't seen enough. I'm still going to lean towards Islam just because I've seen him handle all issues, and he's had high levels of success in the past.
Johnny Walker also waiting on Islam Makhachev's move to welterweight to face Jack Della Maddalena, praising Islam's toughness and technical skill. He acknowledged that entering a new division comes with tougher opponents and new challenges, but said he's confident Islam can perform well.
He's going to be moving up to 170 from 155 to fight JDM for that title. Who do you favor in that fight?
I think Islam. Yeah, he's been a really tough fight and incredible technique for the last all his career, and I believe he still can get it. But as I said, it's a new division, new body type, new power, everything. He's moving up. It's a big testing for him, but I believe he can do good too.
Moreover, Daniel Dariush leans toward Jack Della Maddalena in his fight against Islam Makhachev, noting that Jack's size and strong cardio could play a major role. He admits there is always uncertainty in such a matchup, but still feels more confident siding with JDM overall.
Islam versus JDM. Do you still favor Islam in that matchup?
I'm going to lean now towards JDM. I feel like the size will make a difference. Cardio-wise, JDM has great cardio. Maybe I'm wrong, but so I just feel like JDM.
Daniel Dariush believes Islam Makhachev could face one of his toughest challenges yet against Jack Della Maddalena at UFC 322. He points out that Jack's size and strong cardio could be deciding key factors, suggesting they might give him the edge, though he admits there is always a chance he could be mistaken.
I'm wondering how that goes. Earlier on, I was leaning towards Islam Makhachev, and now I'm leaning towards JDM, but I don't know why.
Why are you leaning towards JDM now? Tell me, what is it?
I don't have a logical reason for it, but I've just been thinking more about it, bro. He is bigger, he's fast. It's not like he's a slow fighter. He's young. There's not a whole lot like in his game. He showed a whole different game. I've seen his old fights. If I watch just his old fights and not watch his most recent fight with Bilal, I would definitely be like, okay, Makhachev has this fight. But after watching him fight with Bilal, I think his chances of winning are a lot better.
Featherweight champion Alexander Volkanovski also expressed excitement about Jack Della Madalena's growth, especially after his dominant win over Belal Muhammad. He said that performance could prepare Jack well for a potential matchup with Islam Makhachev, noting his improved takedown defense and suggesting this sharper version of Jack could present serious problems for elite wrestlers.
Islam Makhachev is going to be fighting Jack Della Maddalena. How do you think those two match up?
I think Jack's fight against Bilal was a perfect fight for leading into that. Just purely, you take a lot out of stop and takedowns, because again, there's every fighter's still going to have little doubts that are going to creep in. I'm sure Jack was going through that, being like, all right, worried about, what if he takes me down and all that. But the fact that he was able to stop it and feel so comfortable, I guarantee you he's leveled up again. His confidence in his takedowns has just went up significantly leading into this fight. I think his confidence is going to be at a whole nother level. So through camp, I guarantee you, if he's back in training right now, people trying to take him down are going to find it almost impossible. Only the top guys are going to have a chance of taking him down, and they're going to have a very hard time even holding him down.
Similarly, Robert Whittaker backed Jack Della Maddalena to defeat Islam Makhachev at welterweight. He pointed out Jack's size, strength, and underrated jiu-jitsu, saying he's tough to control and could neutralize Islam's wrestling. Whittaker also praised Jack's precise boxing and body shots, explaining that consistent body attacks could sap Makhachev's energy and make his takedowns less effective.
Why does JDM beat Islam in your opinion?
I can see the fight playing out very much like it did with Volk, but Jack's bigger. He's got a different frame. He's a hard dude to try and hold down. I think his jiu-jitsu is very underrated. He has good jiu-jitsu.
Who'll give him?
Not to mention, Jack has really good hand. If he can works the body, which makes it harder to shoot on, to give Islam trouble.
Robert Whittaker further analyzed the matchup, explaining that Jack Della Maddalena's size and skill set could create real problems for Islam Makhachev. He emphasized Jack's underrated grappling, noting that he's far more difficult to control on the ground than people realize. Whittaker also highlighted Jack's sharp striking, particularly his body shots and uppercuts, which could disrupt Makhachev's timing and make his takedowns harder to execute, presenting a challenge Islam hasn't often faced in the octagon.
Why does he beat Islam in your opinion?
I'm biased as heck.
Yeah, exactly.
So I can see the fight playing out very much like it did with Volk, okay? But Jack's bigger. Jack's he's a little bigger. He's got a different frame. He's a hard dude to try and hold down. And I think his jiu-jitsu is very underrated. He has good jiu-jitsu, which means it won't be free. The takedowns won't be free. Being on top of him won't be free. Not to mention, Jack has really good hands. And if he can keep it into that mid-range, into that distance that he likes, make it awkward. He's very good at not only punching straight lines, but punching up. So his hooks, his uppercuts, he mixes it really well. He works the body, which makes it harder to shoot on. I think there's enough angles there to give
Islam trouble.
UFC welterweight Jeff Neal also picked Jack Della Maddalena to beat Islam Makhachev in their 170-pound matchup. He praised Islam's dominance at lightweight but questioned how his strength would carry over to welterweight. Neal said Jack's takedown defense and improved strength will play a major role, and added that he hopes Jack retains the title.
I don't know. We will see, because I've heard Islam's strong as shit. Like, especially like when he's fighting 155, people like always talk about how strong he is for the weight class. So we'll see how that translates to 170.
Yeah.
You know, I hope Jack's been working his takedown defense and in the weight room. You know what I mean? Don't embarrass us, dog. Don't let this 155er come up and take the belt, bro.
Who do you give the edge to in that fight?
Man, that's so hard. But I'm gonna give the edge to Jack, man. He needs to keep the belt at 170.
Earlier, Jeff Neal urged Jack Della Maddalena to defend his welterweight title, saying it would look bad if Islam Makhachev moved up and immediately took over the division. While acknowledging Islam's dominance at lightweight, Neal doubted whether his strength would translate to 170. He stressed that Jack's takedown defense would be key and hoped he was ready for the pressure Makhachev brings.
Who do you think wins that fight?
I don't know. We will see, because I've heard Islam's strong as shit. Like, especially like when he's fighting 155, people like always talk about how strong he is for the weight class. So we'll see how that translates to 170.
Yeah.
You know, I hope Jack's been working his takedown defense and in the weight room. You know what I mean? Don't embarrass us, dog. Don't let this 155er come up and take the belt, bro.
Who do you give the edge to in that fight?
Man, that's so hard. But I'm gonna give the edge to Jack, man. He needs to keep the belt at 170.
Okay.
However, UFC light heavyweight Diego Ferreira picked Islam Makhachev to win, praising his hunger and dominance at lightweight. He pointed out Islam's improved boxing and elite wrestling, saying his well-rounded skill set gives him the advantage and makes him the favorite in the matchup.
Let's go Islam. You know, I think Islam he's hungry. You know, especially everything he did in the lightweight. And I think he's much better boxer too, and he's wrestling. Cannot lie, you know. I have so many things he can do in this fight, and you know, I probably I gotta go with Islam.
Lightweight fighter Gage Young admitted the fight is difficult to predict, pointing out the challenge of moving from 155 to 170 pounds because of the weight difference. He described it as a coin flip matchup, but slightly leaned toward Jack Della Maddalena, praising his ability to create unpredictable scrambles. Young added that Islam Makhachev's more traditional wrestling style might not adapt as easily to Jack's dynamic movement.
That's tough, man. Maddalena's real good, and I feel like the jump from 55 to 70 is a big jump, just with the weight discrepancy. I don't know. That's a tough one. That's a coin flip. I lean towards Maddalena on that one, but I could see Islam getting it done. But Maddalena's just got an ability to create weird scrambles, and Islam's got a real traditional wrestling style. And I think with Maddalena's grappling style, it's hard to prepare for. I think Maddalena will get that one done.
Eric Makhachev also called the matchup intriguing, praising Jack Della Maddalena's boxing, size, and takedown defense. He also noted that Islam Makhachev's wrestling adds unpredictability, making it hard to pick a winner. Makhachev expects the fight to be an exciting contest.
That's an interesting one, because I like Jack's boxing, dude, and the way he look against Bilal and that takedown defense, and he's a big dude. I just want to see. I want to see how Islam's gonna do against him. But Islam is like, you know, Dagestani and wrestling, man, is going to be different. So I can't really choose that one, but I think it's gonna be a good one.
And so that's all we have from today's video. We hope you enjoyed it. Let us know your thoughts and predictions about this fight in the comment section below, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more updates on this highly anticipated matchup.